show you some preschool and kindergarten curriculum that I used this last year, and also a few helpful tips and just extra resources and activities that you can use for your preschooler or for your kindergartner. We started out using Learning Dynamics from the website 4 Weeks to Read. This is a very simple, user-friendly program. There's not a lot to it, and so it leaves a lot of room for you to add in your own activities and fun things to do to help reinforce learning phonics, handwriting, letter recognition, those basic skills that your preschooler and kindergartners are going to be learning. In this kit, you have a teacher lesson notebook, you have a student notebook, you have a CD with songs to help them learn the letter sounds. And all of these books are readers that they will use later on when they start learning how to read and put words together. This kit comes with 2 sets of flashcards. The first set goes through the alphabet. Each vowel has 2 cards because one is for the long sound A, angel. One is for the short sound A, alligator. This has an alphabet song that you use the flashcards, and it goes through the sounds. It says, I know the letter A says A and A. I know the letter B says B, B, B. I know the letter C says K, K, K. I know my alphabet. And it just repeats over and over again. And you'll continue to use these cards pretty much every day just to get that repetition until there was one point where we didn't even use the recording anymore. And I helped my kindergartner sing along, and then he would say the letter name and the sound that it made. The second set of flashcards go through the alphabet. On one side is the uppercase letter, on the other side is the lowercase. These are used as you're going through your workbook and teaching the letters to your child. Here is your lesson manual. You can go through this program at whatever speed is necessary for you and your child. It doesn't have weeks, it just has lesson numbers. There are 41 lessons. Lessons 1 through 32 are going through every phonic sound in the alphabet with short vowels. And once they've completed short vowels and every other letter sound in the alphabet, they begin to identify long vowel sounds. And the rest of the lessons are focused on long vowel sounds and the 2 vowel rule, that if 2 vowels go walkin', the first one does the talkin'. Here's the first lesson. They do not go alphabetically. This is because they want to give your students letters that they can combine in order to read. That's why the curriculum is called 4 Weeks to Read, is that they get certain consonants and a vowel within a period of time that help them learn to read short, simple words that are in these books. And it gives them a good feeling of accomplishment, and they're really excited rather than feeling like they're working on phonics for months before they can start putting words together and reading, which I think can become frustrating for young children. So this first lesson is on the letter M. You'll get little punch out cards with the picture of whatever corresponds with that letter. It's a mouse for this one. It goes through and it tells you how to introduce the letter, saying It's important that with these letters we don't add extra vowel sounds to them. So for M is not as difficult. What's hard is when you get to like B, buh, then they think the sound is buh, and really it's buh, short buh. So anytime you're teaching letter sounds, you want to make sure that you keep it short and not add an extra vowel sound on the end of that sound. It goes through a little story that has a bunch of words that you can over enunciate. So this one is Morty, munching, mouse, loves to munch, 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 munch. And the story continues. So each story will have words in it that have repetition of that sound, and you really emphasize that sound to get that ingrained. Then in the CD, there is a song to go with every letter sound, including when you do the long vowels. And with those, there's a picture in the book that has words on it that will go in the song, and you'll point to those words whenever you sing them in the song. That's really the length of your lesson as far as teaching, unless you choose to add in some extras. Then there's the student workbook. They practice a little bit of handwriting in this, as you can see, mostly just lowercase. Then they're told for each page to circle the pictures that start with that letter and cross out the ones that don't. After learning 4 or 5 letter sounds, they'll have a review page where they are to match up the letter with the picture. And in lesson 39, you'll start going over vowels, and they'll have some fill in the blank with the correct vowel for your short vowel sounds before you jump into the long vowels. This is the very first book that they'll be introduced to, Pam. Really, it's just a picture with a word that goes along with it. Pam, hat, bag, and Sam. But that's their first book. Then as you progress into the long vowel sounds, you jump into books like this, Bake a Cake, where you're focusing on the long A sound. And with the books that tell more of a sequence story, they will have questions for you to ask your child after the book. So I'm a little bit of an organizational junkie, and I wanted a way to organize flashcards and anything else that I use to help reinforce that letter sound that we were learning. So I ended up putting every letter that we were doing into one of these cases. I think these are technically photo organizational things. Photo box. So I had a label maker, of course, labeled each one. Then I had some other workbooks and resources that had these pages in the back. So you can find these anywhere, or you can make your own. And I would just add these in so that we had a bunch of different pictures and things to go through to help reinforce. So this one would have different pictures: mouth, mouse, mop, mittens, and so on. I had some packs of flashcards. I had a picture of a moon, monkey, mermaid. Then this card is the one that actually came with the curriculum. So you'll get a whole sheet of these and punch out whatever letter that you are learning. And as we would review these, we would go through all of these. My son is pretty silly, and he liked it when I would go through the flashcards in the books. After he's already gone through them, we're reviewing them, so he should, hopefully be able to recognize them. And I would have him teach me what the word was. And so I would be kind of silly, and if I saw this, I might go, "Is that a smile?" And he'd say, "Well, it's smiling, but it's not a smile." Or I'd just be really crazy and be like, "Is that a banana?" And he'd crack up, and it just made learning fun, and it made him have to remember so that he could teach me what the picture was. A tip for teaching the vowels is that even in some workbooks where they are teaching your child phonic sounds, when they're working on a letter with especially the vowels, you want to help them focus on one sound at a time and introduce them to one sound at a time. So it's a little bit confusing to introduce O with the ah sound, but then they have a picture of a door that is open, making the long O sound. All of a sudden they're confused. Same thing with like U, they have an umbrella. For some reason, a lot of books like to throw in a unicorn. That's not the short U sound, so that becomes confusing for the kids. So look through your resources and make sure that they are teaching just one sound at a time. Same thing with like C. If there's a picture of a circle, don't confuse them further by having a circle and a cup. Just stick with the k sound first, and then secondary sounds can come after they've learned those first sounds. Whenever I didn't have enough pictures of a certain letter, I would just find my own online and print them out and laminate them. So for the short O sound, I was missing a few, so I had ostrich and a light switch with on and off. Works both ways there. So I did that for a few of our letters that were lacking in pictures. An activity that I found to help reinforce every letter that we were learning, I found it on teacherspayteachers.com. It was a craft of each letter. So these would be on a sheet of paper. He would color it, cut it out, and then glue it to a separate sheet. And every letter would have some kind of visual of the sound. So mouse, and they had capital letters and they had lowercase letters. So this one was monster. And that was a fun thing for him to work on, especially while I was focusing on teaching my older kids. Here was a alligator, apple. So it was a whole packet, went through all of the letters, and I believe that they did all short vowel sounds. I can't remember now if they had pictures for long vowel sounds as well, but I just found that on Teachers Pay Teachers. I looked up stuff on Pinterest, and there were a lot of activities very similar to that. You could make a book, or just different kinds of artistic, creative, very hands-on things that I found that he really enjoyed. Another fun activity that we did is had a tub of sand. So I found some blue sand at the craft store. This is about a 9x12 container. I like having the big ones just so they have plenty of room to play in it. And my older kids also used this for spelling last year when they would go through all the things they had to do. They had to trace it in the sand as well as writing it on paper. So for the littles, it's just fun to give them something to play in. They get to touch it, feel it, it's different. You could also do this in pudding, whipped cream, other fun, messy, yummy things. I found sand to be a good alternative because I was not about to make pudding very often or buy it so that they could play in it and get it everywhere. Another fun thing is just using Play-Doh, rolling it up into the letters, giving them maybe a flashcard with a picture of, a cat, and having the letters on the flashcard, and then having them form the letters by rolling out the Play-Doh. Just a good way for them to reinforce that visual. It's fun for them, and hopefully is a good activity while you can be doing something else, working with older kids perhaps, and it's just a fun thing for them to get to do on their own. I hope that's been helpful, and I will see you next time.
Okay. I know the letter says A and A. I know the letter B says B, B, B. I know the letter C.
C says
I know my alphabet.